If you've heard the news, yes, it's unfortunate. We are in a literacy crisis. Now, this literacy crisis consists of people having reading levels of ages way lower than them, grades way lower than them, and people just not knowing, the definition or how to even sound out words. Now, granted, I'll be 100%. I was not the best, reader growing up. I was dyslexic or, dyslexic, as some people call it. And I don't want to sit up here and act like the smartest person on the planet. But I feel like people are in a weird, unfortunate state because there's no effort being put into reading. Whether it's high school, whether it's out at these bars, with these index cards. Now let me play devil's advocate for a little bit. One of the words that a lot of high schoolers were having a hard time figuring out was silhouette. Now granted, in high school, I probably wouldn't have known what silhouette meant. So I'm not mad at them. And then they're trying to ask them what they means at that. Now, I feel like I knew the meaning of silhouette when I was in high school, but how to spell it, no. Because I was not on that type of time with the reading. Like I said in many videos, I dropped out of JC. And depending on what you value after high school is depending on how you feel about that. For instance, I went to the military, did 4 years, active duty. Some people might say, hey, I contributed to society way more than someone who got like a 4-year degree that doesn't help with any job. There's people with 4-year degrees who are working high school level jobs that don't even pay a lot. There's people with master's degrees who are struggling to pay bills, who were great readers in high school. So like I said, yes, it depends on where you put your value in. I mean, heck, look at these streamers who can't read. Are they contributing to society? Some might say no. Some might say yeah. It's just all opinion based. Now, I try not to be a hater. What am I saying? I love being a hater. But a lot of these streamers are doing probably more damage, especially the more popular streamers. I mean, look at Blackboy Max. He looks like he's on his downfall. Kai Cenat's finna start another streamer university, and the first one was a bucket of ass last time I checked. Where Kai is still terrorizing the internet. Like I said, they seem like they're not doing any good. Now, granted, there are streamers who I feel like a lot of people who, rock with. And it's not that they're super literate. It's just that they have some form of wisdom. Bruce dropped him off. Y'all remember when Bruce was literally getting onto Your Rage about his relationship with a 19-year-old girl? While Your Rage was claiming to have like a big bro type of relationship with the girl, and Bruce called it out, and everyone was disagreeing with Bruce. And then it ended up that people started like thinking, kind of seeing videos, kind of seeing how they interacted and being like, yo, Bruce was right. Because he kind of was all along. That's kind of hard where we at with this. But anyways, I digress. A lot of high schoolers, like I said, aren't really gonna even contribute to society just because they can read. Now granted, it does say something and it is a simple task. But here we go with a lot of teachers saying, hey, these kids can't read, this, that, and the third. A lot of these kids think they're just gonna be streamers, this and that. And yes, I agree 100%, even though I was a terrible student, that is going to be the case. Because like I said, I like to be real. I like to live in reality. And one of the reasons why I probably won't go back to school for a long time, if I even do go, is because I don't know if I'm going to have the willpower to get through school. Why? Because I don't know if it's going to benefit me. And I'm honestly past that stage in my life to where I'm done doing things that don't really benefit me. I don't do things for the aesthetic. Now, early 20s is kind of crazy to be saying that but I feel like that's just a maturity thing. Like, who wants to just do things for other people's aesthetic when they have a right mind, when they're not trying to please people? Because I'm not at a point where I'm trying to please people. I'm not at a point where I'm trying to get validation from a whole bunch of people, even my family members, including my mom. Now, granted, you need to be able to read to even do high school level jobs or jobs that don't require degrees. Like I said, I was in the military. You got to be able to read to, pass that ASVAB. I mean, you got to be able to read to really even work at McDonald's, if I'm being honest, or work at Walmart. Jobs that, yeah, sure, are frowned upon and don't pay a lot at a beginner level. But once you work your way up, you might be earning more than some of the teachers who are teaching you. Now, whether that says more about our education programs and how they're treating our teachers, or that says more about, these big Fortune 500 companies and how they're treating their upper level staff is, your opinion. And plus, you never want to be that guy who's going around asking your high school friends to read words and then asking them what they mean after they read the word, because karma is, really a beach, if we're being honest. I know plenty of people who called me stupid in high school, who loved making fun of the fact that I didn't know certain things, that, I struggled to read a little bit. I was a slow reader. Now, a lot of those guys are living paycheck to paycheck, even though they were getting good grades. And that's why I kind of look up in the sky like, does it really matter what grade? Because we prioritize bread, no matter what you want to say. Most people prioritize bread. There's no parent on the planet who has a close relationship with their kids who's mad at them because they're doing a job that doesn't require a degree, but they're making like 6 figures. I feel like people prioritize education mainly for the aesthetic, like I said earlier, because most people think about themselves 90% of the time. You really think your mom wants you to get a degree if you really don't want a degree? No, she wants you to get the degree because she, the aesthetic makes, she can hang it on her wall, this and that. That's what it's about, in my opinion. I literally had my aunt telling me that I need to just go to school, even though I was telling her to tell me how it's going to benefit me in my career path that I was trying to get. I gave her a career path at the time, and she couldn't even tell me that. She just told me I should just get the degree. That's the issue I have with this. But that's way past in a literacy crisis, if we're being honest. But when you are an adult and you're out at the club scene and you're caught not reading, it is kind of a telltale sign of something. Like, dang, you don't know like really any of these words, bro. Like, you can't at least sound them out, say it in your head a little bit, kind of think about it real quick, kind of read it before you start reading it out loud, or just choose not to be in the video. No one forced you to be in that video. Especially considering that you are out in that environment, you probably are a person who is, a fan of the internet in that sense, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, whatever. So you probably wouldn't be too happy seeing yourself, on someone's Instagram reels, being portrayed as a guy who can't read with laughing emojis in the comments and stuff. Now, granted, if you don't care about the perception of other people, that's freaking great. Keep doing that. But that's not how a lot of people work. But usually when I think about reading at, a young level, I always thought about the season pass that we got for Six Flags. I don't know if every other school did this, but mine in elementary did. If you read like a certain amount of pages or a certain amount of books, dependent on it had to be your grade level and your reading level, you got, rewarded for it. And because in the earlier grades, before 3rd grade, I loved like Dr. Seuss books and loved like picture books, I had no issue reading a bunch of books. Now, granted, when we had to start reading chapter books and all that stuff, 120 pages and more, I was cool off that. Y'all can have that season pass. And now that I think about it, I don't even know if I was really reading all them books. Sometimes I feel like my mom was forging it that just so we could have a cheaper way of getting to Six Flags. It's crazy because it's like, are parents teaching their kids to read? Are parents really like laying down with their kids and reading a book to them? Are they buying their kids like picture books? Because you got to start off with baby steps. Even though, yes, you could just pay someone to teach your child. That's great. I'm not opposed to that. But, they always say you want to keep your kids' brain sharp. These iPads have kind of gotten out of hand. I knew a kid who was an iPad kid. I don't think he's a bad reader. I've never heard him read out loud. But it usually never is a good thing. Now, some of y'all might be like, oh, Deb, I got little brothers, I got little cousins. They great readers, man. What you talking about? This never pertains to everybody. There's always exceptions. So yeah, we always got to remember that before we start talking crazy and all that. Now, granted, are they rewarding kids for being able to read nowadays? I don't know. Like I said, I don't know a lot of young kids. But even if they aren't, we didn't always get rewarded for reading, I feel like, at least. But like someone said on TikTok earlier, reading is essential for younger kids. Younger kids, me in kindergarten, you know what I'm talking about, need to learn to read, while older kids need to read to learn. If you don't get what that means, I kind of don't feel like explaining it, so, think about it. And hey, who's to say you can't read on an iPad? Who's to say you can't limit your kids' iPad access to some books every once in a while? You should probably supervise them when they're on the iPad, to make sure they're not getting onto certain things. If I'm being for real, you should probably limit their iPad time as a whole in general, maybe to less than 3 hours a day. But I don't want to teach people how to parent, so I'm gonna knock that. I'm gonna kill that cat. But yeah, anyways, hey, that's all I got to say about it. I appreciate you for watching. If you watched to the end, Thanks for rocking with me. If you rock with me for this far, hey, it ain't always easy over here. It ain't always easy. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know other videos you want to see. Let me know if you like more stuff like this where I'm just kind of, yapping. Give me more video ideas, But yeah, I'm out of here. I appreciate you. Deuce.